Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Coaches need to coach and players need to play. And obviously the leadership, if you want to be an elite football team, it's led from within, right? It's led by the players. And the speeches are done. The speeches are over. We don't need any more rah-rah stuff. It's just time to go play football, fix the mistakes, do everything we can to, play our best football this weekend.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome into Jaguars Today. Tony, the time for rah-rah speeches is done.
Is it?
Well, that implies there have been some rah-rah speeches.
They've tried them maybe, but they haven't worked.
In the history of rah-rah speeches, had there ever been a least effective group of rah-rah speeches than the ones that must have been given here in Jacksonville?
Like, we're getting to a point in the season where fans are already asking, when are the players going to have that players-only closed-door meeting to really turn things around? And we're already at that point 3 weeks in.
Look, I get it. Everybody feels like, either they know the best way to turn it around,
some solution,
or they want to try something. And I get it. Like, there's
I don't
nothing
blame
wrong.
you for trying.
Sometimes a players-only meeting does shake things up, right?
Can.
There are probably plenty of instances where players-only meetings where half the guys are rolling their eyes and they're on their cell phones and they don't even care what's being said. And I'm not talking about here in Jacksonville. I'm just talking about as a widespread practice,
They did that kind of thing after that Detroit loss in 2022, right? With the way that happened, they looked like they were – look, we're competing for a playoff spot.
Season's going off the cliff.
Right. They talked about going into that trip up there to Detroit. Detroit embarrassed them, right? Trevor had the scary moment where he went down right before halftime when we were all like, is it really done? Is this the end of it? Well, he comes out and plays the second half, and he's okay, right? Physically, he's okay. And then afterwards, everyone had to get together and say, who are we? But the players had to do that on their own. I don't know why that couldn't have happened in the last 7 weeks at some point last year, right?
Or maybe it did.
And we just haven't heard about it. I don't know. And that we're 4 weeks into this thing. We're getting ready for week 4, and people are already like, when are they going to have to do that? It's like, this is an ugly time to have to do it. But I'm not saying it's not necessary at this point.
I'm not saying,
They're 0-3.
look, you can try it. It's fine. It's just not a cure-all. Not, why don't you bench this guy? Well, then, very popular. And I would have no issue with.
Try whatever they want to try.
Yeah, try. If you want to try Walker Little at left tackle, now you could say, they watch these guys, and this is usually my line, they watch these guys all off season.
Mm-hmm.
If they thought Walker Little gave them a better chance to win than Cam Robinson, don't they want to win?
I would assume they do.
And I get it. There are certain times that money plays a role here, but neither one of these guys is likely to be back with this team next year unless they earn a new contract. Cam's gotten paid. Right, in the NFL. I'm not saying that doesn't mean he's not trying or anything like that, but he's not playing effectively. He gave up 8 pressures, reportedly, in this game this week, which is awful.
Ugly. Yeah.
The entire offensive line gave up a decent number of pressures, it seemed like, to the Buffalo Bills. But, I was talking with somebody this weekend, and their point of view was, hey, this other guy's not gotten the big money deal, right? I mean, it's big money compared to the average person walking around on the street. You get drafted in the second round, you make a few $1 million. Oh, poor Walker Little. Nobody's saying poor Walker Little, but in terms of making that life-changing, set you up for the next 3 decades kind of cash,
right?
He hasn't gotten that kind of contract. So maybe having a guy out there with that kind of level of desperation to show teams that, hey, I don't want to just be part of a rotation or come into camp and compete. I want somebody to sign me. Maybe it's here in Jacksonville again, but I want somebody to sign me with the idea that I can be a plug-and-play left tackle for your football team. Maybe that guy gets you a better result. I don't know. I'm not opposed to trying certain things like that if I feel like the talent level is reasonably close between those two guys.
Yeah, and I don't think, there are ideas that I think would symbolize that they're kind of looking past 2024. I think those kind of things can come into play. I don't think at 0-3 now's the time to do those things from a team perspective. I get it from a fan perspective. It's over. It's done. They're not playing for anything this year anyway. They're not going to be a playoff team. All those. I understand the mentality of people who feel that way about it. I don't think the team should approach any of this that way. And when I mentioned that as like Cooper Hodges replacing Brandon Sheriff. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens at some point this season.
I would be surprised if he didn't, honestly.
Right. But week 4, I don't think is the time to do that kind of thing. I still think it's early enough in the season that it's not time for their side of it to say, yeah, we're 0-3, we've been terrible, we're done.
Let's take a look at this and see if it turns out better.
Let's get all our young guys on the field. They got to play because we got to give ourselves an opportunity in 25. I don't think they should feel that way in the building yet. At some point, I get it if you feel like that's inevitable, that's where this team is heading, because I have that same kind of feel to it as well, that it's inevitable at some point this year they're playing for 25.
Right, but they can't approach it that way.
But Doug Peterson can't go,
we have 14 games left, let's punt and worry about next year, because he knows under that scenario there's a really good chance he won't be here next year. His job is to go out there and try to put a formula together to beat the Houston Texans this week.
Yeah.
And look, if Shad Khan wants to come along and axe Doug Peterson if they lose in an embarrassing fashion to the Houston Texans, that's his prerogative.
It is.
Do I think it will fix this team? Look, sometimes a coaching change does kind of jumpstart a team, right? Like the Raiders last year seemed to rally around Antonio
Raiders
Pierce.
have done it 2 of the last 3 years.
It was a different voice, though. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's what you need. Like the old message gets stale. I'm not saying that this message has gotten stale. I'm not there every day. And really, the reporters who cover the team every day, they're there, but they're not in all the meetings. They're not in all the sessions. They're not in the private conversations on the practice field between Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence. So, we don't know. I don't think, the idea of benching the quarterback, I know there's been a lot of, it's over. I've decided now. I've come to the dark side or whatever. I've seen a lot of this in my timeline. Trevor's just not that guy. Well, you think Mac Jones is? Right? And if you're we all have gotten on Trevor about ball security in the last few years with good reason, right? He hasn't protected the ball nearly well enough. Well, first couple games of the year, he didn't turn it over. I'm not saying he's been perfect, and he clearly hasn't been. Had a bad interception this week that we've all pointed out. Well, Mac Jones is on the field for a handful of plays and got sacked once and lost the fumble. Mm-hmm. So he has already equaled Trevor Lawrence's turnover total for the year. That's one area where Lawrence has been better. For the sacks he's taken, he has hung on to the football, even though he's taken some big blindside hits. Again, Trevor needs to play better. They all need to play better. They need to coach better. Front office needs to select better players. But that's the thing, like you get to this point now, I see, Shad Khan needs to fire Trent Baalke yesterday. To what end? I mean, look, it would satisfy your bloodlust to some degree. And if that's what it is, that's fine. You're allowed to be a fan that way. But as we sit here and try to figure out, will that help the Jaguars moving forward? I don't know that it has any impact on the Jaguars moving forward to move on from a GM in the middle of the season, which is why it's rarely ever done in the National Football League.
No, it doesn't happen very often. It was Rich Bisaccia. That was the guy with the Raiders who came in as the interim coach. He wound up going like 7-5 or something like that with them the back half of the year, and they went to the playoffs.
Didn't get the job.
Yep, and didn't get hired as the full-time head coach the next year, but he did get the Raiders into the playoffs that year. So it's not unheard of that you make a change early in the season and it works out, but it is very rare, obviously. Most NFL teams aren't replacing a coach 5 games into the year, and that one was weird because that was Gruden. And that whole situation with whatever was going on with him in the league, there were extenuating circumstances there with the Raiders and having to go a different direction. I'm with you. I don't think changing the GM necessarily does much. But again, talking about things, I can understand fans who feel however they want to feel about it. And if they feel like, I don't want Trent Baalke to have any more influence over anything that's happening. I don't want him talking to the owner ever again. Right? Like, I understand fans who may feel that way. If they're ready to move past Trent Baalke and if they wanted to make that decision now, I get it. I don't think that's the direction NFL teams generally go, but I can understand having that kind of feeling. I would hope at some point, we talked about this when they made this last decision with coach and GM, when they wound up hiring Doug Peterson, when they were letting Urban go, it was clean house.
Absolutely.
At some point, things will get to a point where you have to just start over in all of these positions. I get it. He doesn't know a bunch of football guys that he can trust to come in and take over that process. Thought he had found it with Tom Coughlin. It didn't work out that way for a bunch of different reasons, but it didn't work out that way. So he decided to keep one and replace the other. It certainly looks right now like they're going to have to replace both. That's the way it looks to me right now, but sort of like we've talked about the last several years when this kind of thing has come up. I'm not absolutely sure that's the way this is going to go. If it continues down the road that they're currently on, I would certainly hope that's the direction Shad Khan goes with this whole thing, but I'm not absolutely sure that's where it's going to wind up. I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow, whatever decision they're going to make in any of these areas, because, again, we're 3 games into this. They're not going to make any of those kind of decisions yet. When I say they, Shad's not going to make those kind of decisions yet for the franchise, but I think the door to those things happening are now very much open. Now, when it gets kicked open and he sees no other choice but to move on, I don't know what the answer to that would be, but certainly what they've done in the first 3 weeks, especially on Monday night in front of the whole football-watching country, is as embarrassed as we've heard Shad Khan's ever been as the owner.
That's what we've heard, but I find it hard to believe it's that losing in a bad fashion is more embarrassing than your coach staying around to fondle a woman in the Cincinnati bar. Honestly,
and then
right?
lying to you about it.
And that didn't immediately get him fired.
Yeah.
So if you're shocked that 0-3, Doug Peterson's still the head coach, we haven't come close to rock bottom.
Why'd you stay behind? Oh, it was that, and then we see the video of what happened. You lied.
Right. And he kept his job until it came out about him kicking Josh Lambo and on and on. And don't need to relitigate that whole situation.
I don't expect it to go that way with Doug.
Today's question of the day is asking you, in your opinion, who is most to blame for the current state of affairs that the Jacksonville Jaguars find themselves in? Right, we've got 4 levels here.
Mm-hmm.
You got players. That's the ground level. You got coaches right above them. You got the front office. You can read that as balky or however, and you've got ownership. And somebody made a point about, the front office has been a drag on this team, basically. You go back to we could have drafted CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson. Even that was Dave Caldwell, but it's still the front office, right? And if you want to look at it that way as player procurement and the talent that's available, if you think it's on coaching and you think that they're wasting the talent on this roster, you're saying that there's talent on this roster, and that would be a feather in the cap of Trent Baalke, right? Like, I don't know, Tone. This team was good enough the last couple of years to have a winning record, and I think the talent is worse than it's been in the last couple of years. I think they're good enough to have a winning record as well now. So I look at the talent on this team, and I say I could go to bat with a lot of these guys, and I get it. You can talk about the offensive line. Somebody said they haven't done anything to address the offensive line. Well, they drafted Anton Harrison in the first round last year. They traded for Ezra Cleveland during the season. They signed Mitch Morse this offseason. That's 60% of your offensive line that's been turned over since last year. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, have they done it effectively? Maybe not. But to say they haven't addressed it, it's like, they haven't even signed an offensive lineman. They've got the same 5 guys since 2009. No, clearly. They've addressed it. Have they addressed it well enough? We all liked the Anton Harrison selection, right?
Yeah.
Till he started playing poorly.
Mm-hmm.
So was he a good pick or a bad pick? I don't know. Time will tell, right? But
played better this week. He had a really bad first couple weeks. Played better this week.
Correct. But in the overall picture, I'd say he's been a solid pick for this team with still a lot of hope for the future. But you can cast your vote today on that. Players, coaches, front office, ownership being the 4th option in this poll. And some have said, hey, it all starts and ends with Shad Khan. If you've got problems, it always goes right to the top. Do you believe that? You can vote that way. Vote accordingly. If you want to get in today, on the Garber Auto Mall phone line, 641-1010 is the way to do it. Same number for the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Hop in the YouTube virtual studio chat if you like as well, or on X or Twitter at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and at 1010XL Denmark.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws, baby.
Give me a Friday night scheduling update, Dylan.
We
Denmark.
have breaking news. Baldwin Bowls, 6 o'clock Monday night.
So that's official.
That is official.
Is that pretty much across the board? Are we not going to have any high school football this Friday?
Yeah, no Friday, pretty much across the board here.
And
some are playing Monday, some are playing the weeks.
I guess you have to plan for the worst case scenario.
Yeah,
right?
You kind of have to, because we're still in Duval County, so we have to abide by their rules. Bowls can do what they want since they're a private school, so that's what we had to do. They canceled activities after school Wednesday through the rest of the week. So.
Yeah, my wife's hoping to get the next couple days off in St. Johns County, hoping they cancel classes for a brief little rain shower that we'll be getting. Hope you're all safe out there. Don't wash away, certainly. And for the folks on the western part of the state, they're dealing with something more significant. No question about it. All right, we'll hear a little bit from Doug Peterson. He'll address the media again in about 20 minutes. Getting a lot of Doug right now. Post-game, got him yesterday after the flight. Got him again today, scheduled midweek press conference, so we'll see if anything changes. A lot of people feeling like he's throwing his quarterback under the bus with some of the comments he made yesterday, so we'll get to those coming your way as well. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark, listening to Jaguars Today. Keep it right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Lickety Split. You know it gets hot in North Florida, rain or not. Man, that humidity can get you when the temperatures go up and your AC goes out. You need help now, like right now, like Lickety Split. So call Lickety Split. Get same-day emergency service for your air conditioning. I bet you've seen their trucks all over town. They have dozens of certified technicians rolling out there, ready to repair not only your AC, but your home's plumbing and electrical, too. Locally, family-owned and operated with same-day emergency service, 4.8 average on Google reviews. Check them out online at licketysplitfl.com.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
1010XL Weekly is your one-stop shop for all things Jags, college ball, preps, and more. Subscribe to our newsletter today, and you'll be entered to win free tickets to the Packers game this October. Subscribe, just head on over to 1010XL.com and scroll down to the 1010XL Weekly Flash page.
Did you know you can charge the all-new Honda Electric Prologue in the same receptacle as your phone? You don't need these special charging stations at your home. Simply plug in your Honda or your phone. See your local Honda dealer now. We're electrified.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called The Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank N.A. member FDIC.
Hey, Prosser here to save you some cash. Maximize your home sale now with the market experts who deliver more money in less time, and those experts are Chad and Sandy Newman. Maybe you're worried about costly repairs or upgrades needed to sell your home. You don't have to worry. The worries are relieved with Chad and Sandy, the local real estate experts we are trusting and recommending with the sale of your home. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Mortgage rates are down. It's time to create your market. Marvin in Cobblestone writes, my siblings and I moved our parents to Maryland so they can get some extra help as they get older. Next, we had to sell the home to get them some financial help for their extra care. We hired Chad and Sandy, and they delivered big. Chad and Sandy's team got our home sold in 7 days above asking price. You can too. Call Chad and Sandy today, 904-414-6200, or go to chadandsandy.com. That's Chad, ANDSANDY.com.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
Expert Automotive on St. John's Bluff Road has some of the highest Google reviews in Jax for a reason. Expert Auto never sells greed, only what you need. All makes and models are serviced at Expert Automotive. This month, get an alignment inspection for only $19.99. Expert Auto does major engine and transmission repair and simple maintenance. All services done at Expert Auto by our ASC certified training technicians. Call today, 374-3373, and ask about $50 off any service. Expert Automotive. We never sell greed, only what you need.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Are your toilets flushing slow? Shower drain starting to back up? Bad smells? These are all major signs that your septic tank needs to be pumped out. Call Duck Rooter to schedule today. The EPA recommends you get your septic tank pumped out every 3 years. Call now if it's due. 904-862-6769. Duck Rooter is Northeast Florida's only master septic contractor that is fully insured. See our Google reviews. Visit duckrooter.com. 904-862-6769.
Follow the Canes as they storm the ACC.
I'm 1010XL's JJ LaSelva, and every week I'll bring you the Miami news and notes you need to know.
The Performance Painting Hurricane Report on 1010XL. Prepare, protect, preserve.
If you're getting married or want to upgrade your bands, now is the time at Beard's Diamonds.
Because it's Beard's Diamonds' incredible buy one, get one on wedding band sale.
At the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
Homeowners, listen up. The Fed has taken action, lowering rates for the first time in years, and Loan Pronto has followed suit by lowering mortgage rates big time. Prosser here. Loan Pronto just locked in a homeowner at 4.59% APR, the lowest in 2 years. Whether you got your loan last month or last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto and dump that high-rate loan. You can lock in a lower rate fast with virtually no paperwork and usually no appraisal. There's no limit on how many times you can refi, so get started. Even if you're in process with another lender, give Loan Pronto a call. If you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Purchase loans available as well, so call now. Get your rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call 904-999-1508 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, MLS consumeraccess.org.
When storms start to crop up in the Atlantic or Gulf this time of year, having a solid plan to handle anything that sweeps through the First Coast is very important. That's where American Electrical comes in. Ensure your home's safety and comfort with an American Electrical home generator. As the area's leading home generator dealer and installer, American Electrical can offer you easy installation, simple maintenance, and peace of mind. Schedule an assessment by simply calling the team at American Electrical. They'll walk you through the best generator for your home or business. Log on, american-electrical.com.
Lauren Brooks here. If you're in pain and you think you've tried everything, I've got a solution for you. The team at Active Health Jax treats the source of the problem, not just the pain, so you can avoid surgery, cortisone injections, and pain medications. I've had neck aches for years, and I've tried everything from acupunctures to massages with no results. Within minutes of my evaluation and treatment, the tension was gone. It was amazing. Active Health Jax can help you too. Give them a call at 904-296-0202 today or visit them online at activehealthjax.com.
When you're behind the wheel of your car, you expect a safe journey. But what if the other driver's careless and you're injured? The responsibilities and demands on your spouse just doubled. You suddenly can't work. So what happens to your family's income? And by now, the emergency room and medical bills may be sitting on your kitchen counter. You've got some problems, and we want to hear about them. Call us at 396-5555. Farah and Farah, protecting you and your family since 1979. Office, Jacksonville.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
And do you anticipate any changes in coaching responsibilities as far as who's doing what on game days going forward?
No.
That's Doug Peterson. Hey, all right. I mean, look, he answered it, right? He didn't hem and haw. Gary Smits asked the question, and, you know, to me, any coaching responsibility means, A, you're going to fire anybody because that would relieve them of whatever their responsibilities are on game day, and B, assuming Press is calling the plays, and it's the great freaking mystery box of 2024.
Whatever the situation
we won't
is with
admit
play calling
what's happening.
is not changing.
Right. Whatever it is, it's going to be the same. Here's a lot of people want immediate blood retribution. I get it. You're a fan. You want whatever you like, right?
Yep.
I'm just looking at what is likely to happen. All right. We've already moved on for this week. I mean, if there was going to be a change this week, it would have happened already.
Yeah.
Right? Is that you're not going to get into the middle of the coaching week and then go, oh, we got a short week. Let's blow it up. Right. So you go into Houston. I do think if the Jags get embarrassed and are non-competitive and look flat and lifeless against the Texans, that heads could roll. I do. But if you're at least competitive in that game, even if you don't win, you're coming back the next week.
Yep.
Right?
Then you're going to London.
Well, you're coming back. You're honoring Tom Coughlin.
Yeah.
And putting him in the pride. You're doing the throwback jersey thing. It's supposed to be a celebratory day. Are you going to, I'm not saying I'm not making a value judgment on the football decision of this, but I'm talking about, like, you got to think of more things than just how that impacts the locker room, right? Because you are an owner. You're trying to sell tickets. You're trying to make your product as appealing as possible. You're doing all these different things. Do you step on your own narrative by making that the focal point of everything that week. I don't know if you do. And then, like you said, you got a trip to London, okay? Well, if you struggle and lose one or both of those games against Chicago and New England, the schedule only gets more difficult. And then that would be an easy return home kind of break point thing. I don't know if you put an interim coach and go, hey, we're going to send you overseas for the next 2 weeks. Good luck. Hope you have some positive results. But at the same time, playing Chicago and New England, and granted, the way the Jags have played, they're capable of losing to anybody. But
sure, you
could also see, oh, we could beat Indy. We could beat Chicago. We could beat New England. And we come limping back 3-4. And, you're not going to fire a guy on a 3-game winning streak, right? No. So you talk about the window and the likelihood. I think if barring a blowout loss to the Texans, I think we're at least another month before we see any kind of movement. And look, hopefully, I hope they beat the Texans and then they beat all these other teams that we're mentioning, and then we laugh and go, we overreacted early on, and the Jags somehow righted the ship. But they're giving you no indication that they're close to doing that. Cincinnati, yeah, they're 0-3. But, they're going up and down the field, putting up 33 points against Washington on Monday Night Football, and at least they feel like half of our team is responding well, and we can win. If it gets down to a shootout, we can win our share of those, and we can do whatever. Right now, what kind of game can the Jags win? If your defense is going to be as poor as it was this week, and your offense keeps getting progressively worse over the last 3 weeks, I don't know. You can't win anything doing that unless you play an equally inept team.
Yeah, NFL teams don't get beat the way Jacksonville got beat. Usually,
not often.
Right, like it might happen like once a year to a team. Carolina had it happen to them twice to start the year. They still won. Right this weekend, they still won against a Las Vegas team that looked like they were okay for the first couple of weeks of the season, right? Well, they go to Carolina and they get beat bad by the Carolina Panthers.
Now, they're at home when they lost to them, yeah.
It's the NFL is – this stuff happens, right? Things can happen early in a football game that kind of turn on what I used to call avalanche mode in 2017, right? Like it happens every now and then in the NFL. It's the combination of the way that they found to lose in weeks 1 and 2, and then week 3 when it's okay, we got to turn this thing around.
Backs against the wall.
Like that kind of feel to going into the game, and for them to get beat that badly on Monday night, where anything you might have felt okay about through the first 2 weeks evaporated.
There's nothing to feel good about, right, coming out of that game. I'm not saying if you really dig into the tape, there aren't a few individual players who played okay, but the big picture is you feel miserable about your offense, you feel miserable about your defense right now, and that's a bad place to be. All right, we'll get to some of the Doug commentary from yesterday coming up, but let's get a call or two rolling here with Jerry on the west side first up today on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning, guys. Look, I blame it on the players and other reasons too, but the main reason is players. They've all, for years, we've talked about culture in Jacksonville, bring a different culture to Jacksonville. Well, now they got a bunch of do-shitters. They don't care. They show no enthusiasm. If they worked for me, I would have fired half of them the first week. But because of the players' union, you can't do that. They can sit there and tell you they don't care. They don't have to show enthusiasm. They don't have to do anything. They can sit on the bench and get paid. Because of that reason, the players don't care. And they're showing it.
So do you think any players care about Jerry? Or we just have – okay.
Sure. There's a lot of great attitudes on that team.
All right.
Saying all of them. I couldn't have said it like that.
No, I'm just curious because, every professional player is kind of in that circumstance, right? They're all making a lot more money than the average person like me and you, right? So at least I don't know. I hope you're doing well. I don't know. But you know what I mean? Like I do think that attitude, if you get a few of those guys, it can infect a locker room. There's no question about it. I can't explain their lack of passion the last couple of weeks. I find it hard to believe that most athletes get to this point and are successful enough to make it in the NFL, to get this life-changing money without caring along the way. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I understand Jerry's point of view. Yeah. So it appears like, who cares? I got my money, right? And home opener, I come out flat. Like, where's the enthusiasm? I get it. It's not – I think a lot of people feel like Jerry feels.
Well, and it's not the sense I get talking to the people that, Bucky Brooks had the opportunity to be in the locker room. He saw the way the guys in that locker room were reacting on Monday night at halftime to what was happening on the field. And I think maybe some of the finger pointing that's going on there, and I'm not saying Jerry's wrong to point it out, to have that feeling about the football team. I think there are guys on the team that a lot of people are pointing fingers at, like, where's the passion, where's the energy? It's like, well, I heard about that. I heard what they were doing in that locker room with one another, to one another in that room. It just didn't turn anything around.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it didn't change any of what was happening on the field for the football team. I'm with you. You know, we were just talking about when could something change. If they did get embarrassed the way they did on Monday night again this week, then yeah, I think something could change for them. But that's not the way the NFL typically works, and I don't think it's some surprise that Shad Khan's not willing to pull the trigger on something that we all feel like is inevitable at this point. I do, and I do feel that way about it. I obviously didn't have any of this kind of sense going into the season, but 3 weeks in, I'm like, I don't know how Doug Peterson is the coach next year.
That's
I just
what
don't
the product
see it.
has been for 3 weeks, right? Now, we can't, and it colors what you think the next 14 weeks or 15 weeks are going to be like.
They can change that again, but they got to do it now.
Right, they have to do it, and we don't have the evidence that they're going to do something like that.
It's all on the, I hope they do that. Like, that's what it feels like right
and
now.
Granted, I do think this is a interesting circumstance, though. You know, you can go back that the ETN fumble, was the team mentally tough enough to overcome that? Okay?
Not in the moment.
They weren't, right? On that day, on that particular day. You look at how poorly Cleveland has performed. Is our offense really this bad? Okay, and we were flat, and where was the energy? And we had opportunities in both of those games and didn't come through in crunch time. This one, they just didn't show up. Like, they just got pushed around on both sides of the ball right from the start. And so if it goes that way again, I mean, if ever you have a sense of pride, you have to be feeling so bad as a Jaguar player right now. If you have that pride, that if it disgusts you to lose, it's got to disgust you to lose in that fashion. Now, I get the whole thing. The NFL mentality is about trying to put it away after 24 hours, but I hope this one lives with them, Tony. I don't want them to have that feel. I hope they have that internalized that I don't want to feel that way again, because if they show up, let's say, worst case scenario, right? They show up against the Texans and they get beat 31-3, okay? Well, that means that your players have stopped responding to your coaching staff. Yeah. And maybe that's happened to some degree with some guys, and maybe there is some conflict and lack of communication or whatever going on there. But, like, if I were Shad after the game, I would have asked him, or at some point, I know you back your offensive guy and you don't want to make any changes. Why is that? Make the case to me why nothing should change based on the fact that we scored 17, then 13, then 10. And we're one of the lowest scoring teams in the National Football League.
Yeah.
And we're not even competitive in a primetime environment where we've had everything out there for us with the necessity to turn around this season and the narrative. If I'm Shad Khan, I'm making Doug Peterson come up with some pretty damn good answers. Mm-hmm. And if I don't like them, then it's ticking ever closer to you better perform right now, especially against this team. If Houston beats you, I mean, it's over.
If the reasons for the questions, and they're very rational and real questions that have to be answered right now, and Doug can answer them however he wants to answer them, right? And he will during those conversations over the course of postgame last week, going through this week, and ready for Houston, all those things. Those questions really get answered on Sunday. How does the team respond to all of these things that are going on? Like, what does the situation look like once they get to Houston and are playing the first divisional game of the year? Like, from a team perspective, we can all talk about where we expect this whole thing to land and where we expect it to end up. They don't have to. They can't feel that way in the room. They just can't. Like, they can't pretend like the season is over. They're playing 14 more games.
Right.
They have to be ready to play on Sunday against Houston. So the questions that should be being asked of Doug Peterson, he'll answer them however they answer them. Sunday, they get answered. What does the team look like? What is the effort? How much gets fixed?
And how many chances do you get to answer the same damn questions?
I'm right there with you.
I mean, look, that team was not ready to play. The defense never got Cleveland off the field in the first half. And then they gave up 5 straight touchdowns to Buffalo. They clearly were not ready to play. And I get injuries and all that can impact. By the way, as I pointed out to somebody, because they were holding, I guess, Trent Baalke responsible for not drafting CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson, even though he wasn't the GM. He goes, well, what about this? And it's a chart where Aiden Hutchinson is like way at the far end in terms of who said anything about that? We're not saying. All I'm saying is if you're going to critique Trent Baalke, blame him for the stuff he's actually responsible for. I have no problem with you saying that they should have drafted Aiden Hutchinson.
No.
We've only said it ourselves a billion times.
We've only said he should be fired every year.
So-
This is not some revisionist thing. We're not changing our mind on Trent finally.
And we don't have to go make up reasons.
No.
You don't need to pile on. Dave Caldwell got axed.
Right.
It's like saying Ethan Waugh is responsible because he works in the front office right now.
It doesn't mean I didn't feel good about the job he did this offseason. I did.
So did I.
Like, none of the things that have happened that I thought, okay, this is what's going to fix X, Y, like, none of that's happened to this point in the season. And, yeah, that falls on him. But that's not because he wasn't a guy that we both said years ago we would move on from Trent Baalke. This is not suddenly coming up. Shad Khan has decided to stick with him for whatever reasons he has.
You could also look at it like, hey, he signed Gabe Davis. Well, while he's not the top end of the NFL wide receiver group,
right?
He's a hell of a lot more productive in Buffalo than he's been here. So who is that on? Did Gabe all of a sudden become a lot worse than he was? Or is coaching not getting it out of him? Is the scheme not getting it out of him? Is Gabe Davis just playing poorly? Right? I mean, is that...
Don't know.
Is that... Look, ultimately, the responsibility is going to fall at your feet anyway if you sign the wrong guys. But if you sign a guy based on his track record and he shows up and this coaching staff doesn't get that level of performance out of him, who's more to blame in that scenario? All right, we'll continue along today. Phone line's getting backed up, so we'll get to you coming back in just a minute at 641-1010 on the Garber Auto Mall phone line. Stay there. We'll get to some Doug Peterson commentary as well that I'm sure you'll want to hear or may have already heard but want to discuss. That's coming up as well. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Again, I talk about it all the time. You got a team that never lets you down. Over a 98% satisfaction rating for Awaken 180 from over 21,000 customers over the years. You can count me among them. Highly satisfied. Awaken 180 promised me a handful of things. You're going to lose weight. You're going to lose it rapidly. And then once you do lose that weight, if you follow their guidance, you're going to be able to maintain that weight loss indefinitely. And all those things have come true. I only needed to drop another 25, 26 pounds. I was already on my way to losing weight. But Awaken 180 helped me get to my goal, a weight I had not been in about 30 years. And I've been able to maintain that weight loss now for 12 months, and I feel fantastic. Awaken 180 can help you as well. Proven performance and proven success keeping that weight off. Call 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800. No medications, no crazy exercise regimes. Eat to lose weight with Awaken 180. Schedule your free consultation online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Join Jim Furyk and other legends of the PGA Tour for the 4th annual Constellation Furyk and Friends, presented by Circle K, October 4th through 6th at Timuquana Country Club. Get your tickets now starting at just $25 for grounds passes. Public parking is free, and our military get complimentary tournament access courtesy of ViStar Credit Union. Get your tickets today at Ticketmaster, October 4th through 6th at Timuquana Country Club. The 4th annual Constellation Furyk and Friends, presented by Circle K.
This is Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was known for protecting our quarterback. These days, I'm extending that protection to a different arena, your home. I have partnered with Heritage Roofing of North Florida, your premier local roofers with over 25 years of experience. Heritage is your go-to roofer for hurricane preparation, with same-day inspections and estimates. They also work with all insurance companies. Let Heritage Roofing of North Florida safeguard your home and family. Visit heritagenfl.com for your free estimate today.
State license CCC 133541. It's a Weight Loss Wednesday
on Jaguars Today.
Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
When pests invade your space, you don't just need them out, you need them out fast.
and you need to keep them out. At Terminix, we show up for you and eliminate pests quicker because we care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so do we. Don't live with a pest problem. Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com. Terminix it.
Hey, Hicken here. Are you tired of having your carpets professionally cleaned only to have them looking dingy again? Zero Res can help. I'll tell you what, they have the technology. Zero Res uses its patented ZR water that cleans beautifully without using any soaps, detergents, or shampoos. That means zero residue left behind. And guess what? Zero Res falling back in time for September. 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129, and we'll clean a 4th room for free. That's right. The 4th room is on me. Zero Res, man. Spell it forward. Zero Res, spell it backwards. It's the right way to clean. Go!
Everyone who puts on a high school football uniform dreams of Friday Night Glory. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, Friday Night Lights. Join Hacker and Andrew Gibson. Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning on 1010XL.
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their REME Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
If your IT, data security, and your office copiers are operating perfectly, you must have hired ABS, Advanced Business Solutions, as your technology partner.
Advanced Business Solutions.
Hey folks, this is Dave Benyon with my son Ammon here from Zero Res. Ammon, you've been cleaning air ducts for a while now. What are some of the reasons customers might consider getting their air ducts cleaned?
There are many reasons. Many times, people suffer needlessly from poor indoor air quality produced by the conditions in their air system. Construction dust, the presence of bacterial growth, and years' worth of buildup all come together to make your air ducts a pretty gross place. If you suffer from allergies, have recently moved, recently remodeled, or have never had your air ducts cleaned, then now is the best time to call. By calling Zero Res, you'll have the peace of mind of knowing that you called the best of the best. Our state-of-the-art truck mount system and top-of-the-line service representatives simply can't be found anywhere else. Google Zero Res and read thousands of 5-star reviews.
So what kind of deals can I expect?
Just mention that you heard us on the radio, and we'll give you $100 off your air duct cleaning.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty great deal. Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
ZEROREZ. Zero Res.
Has someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI, domestic violence, and all criminal offenses. In your battle with the justice system, there's only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645. 354-5645.
This is Dr. Turner Vossler, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson on the key to turning around the 0-3 start.
Coaches need to coach and players need to play, and obviously the leadership. If you want to be an elite football team, it's led from within, right? It's led by the players. And listen, it's the speeches are done, the speeches are over. We don't need any more rah-rah stuff. It's just time to go play football, fix the mistakes, do everything we can to play our best football this weekend.
The Jaguars suffered multiple injuries on Monday night at Buffalo. Linebacker Foye Oluwakin is expected to miss several weeks with plantar fasciitis, according to Tom Pelissero of NFL Network. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, Tony, what's Doug saying this morning?
Stepped up to the microphone about 10 minutes ago. Mia O'Brien tweeting out from down there. Doug Peterson says it's easier to flush a loss like the Jags to Buffalo on Monday night than a hard-fought tight loss like the one they have week 1 against the Dolphins. He was asked about potential changes to spark the team. He said maybe, but won't share any of that now. Mia also said, for what it's worth, I asked specifically about the defensive hockey shift changes. Doug did hint that that's going to come to an end. largely because of injuries, depth.
I thought we paid all this money to Eric Armstead so he could play both inside and out, right? Not just be a backup defensive end.
That's what they talked about with him.
Right? I mean, are Ledbetter and Lacey better now than Armstead? I know he's not going to play every snap, but don't you want your best guys out there to start the game?
I would think.
Usually. That's kind of the way you go. And anyway, maybe, by the way, is a resounding yes. Right? I mean, if you come out, any changes with coaching responsibilities? No. End of answer. Maybe, but I'm not going to get into that now. It means wait and see because they're coming Sunday. Don't know what they are.
Yeah.
Is it the rotation on the defensive line? Is it, obviously with Foye out, you're going to have a different starter and at linebacker. Will you have any different starters on the offensive line? Don't know.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Doug did say Foye is not an IR candidate, so they don't expect it to be outside of that 4-week window.
Right.
For him to be able to return.
Yesterday, the speculation was a couple weeks.
Yeah. Expectation, he also said, is that Ventura Miller is the next man up. If Foye can't go on Sunday against the Texans, which I would be surprised if he did.
Which would defy a lot of people's expectation that Chad Muma would be the next man up. And I get it. You can look at the depth chart and whatever, but, regardless, whoever comes in and plays that has big shoes to fill.
Yeah, they're not Foye.
Foye is one guy that we can generally rely on to be in the right place at the right time. Doesn't make every play, but he's very far down on my list of guys I have issues with on this football team. All right, let's go to the lines. Get Jamie in next here on Jaguars Today. Go ahead, Jamie.
Guys, how are you doing today?
Good. What's up?
Really quick, I just kind of want to touch on coaching. So my angle on this is if you see what the guy in Green Bay is doing with Malik Willis, right? So, hey, you just got this guy in. He's playing much better than he did at his previous team. Same thing with Sam Darnold in Minnesota. And I think part of our problem is, and I'm going to ask you this, and I'll take it off there, the defensive coordinator. He has this scheme and he has this style, but I think the players we have are more geared to what we had in the past, which is zone, not as much man-to-man. We got really exposed in the linebackers because they're not coverage linebackers. And I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Is like, should he, hey, this is what I have, the talent on this team better suited for this, and make that change, because I don't think we can still run the kind of defense he wants to run with the players we have, and I'll take your comments off the air.
Oh, the defense looked fine running it the first couple weeks of the season.
They did.
So, and I don't care if you're playing zone or man, your linebackers are going to have to cover somebody. That's just football, right? So, and I believe I saw after 2 weeks, the Jags were running like 49% man. So they still run zone, even though they're the most man-heavy team. They're running more zone than man.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody runs man 90% of the time.
And the injuries are a serious issue for them. We talked about it. We didn't feel like they had great depth in the secondary anyway going into the year. But Tyson Campbell's out. Darnell Savage doesn't play this week. Jarian Jones goes out early in that game. Like, they are testing the back end of what little depth they had going against Buffalo on top of all the other things that were going on. I mean, they played miserably bad, so there's no excuse being made for anything that they were doing, but I don't know how much you can say their scheme is terrible.
Well, and I will say, too,
coming off that game.
If you don't think Tyson Campbell's a fit for what you're going to be doing going forward, then why give him the contract, right? You signed Ronald Darby, who excels in man coverage. You drafted 2 corners in this draft, which I presume you know who the defensive coordinator is.
Yeah.
And, when you talk about Darby, Campbell, Jones, arguably your top 3 guys, right? So I feel like and you signed Savage this offseason. You've changed a lot of the guys in your secondary just from last year, or you've recommitted to them knowing which direction that this defense is going to take. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. You see these incredible coaching jobs. The job with getting Malik Willis to look like a competent quarterback feels like a football miracle, quite honestly. I mean, it does, as bad as he has been in the early part of his career.
It was when they made the move to make that trade, I thought it's interesting because we haven't seen anything from Malik to this point. When they put him in and they just did what they do on offense, right? Like, we're going to let the quarterback run. They've always done that. Jordan Love does that too. Malik Willis, the questions were always about him throwing. Well, the coach knows, and he's put him in a lot of very comfortable situations. He's played really well. Like, I give them a ton of credit for getting that out of Malik Willis.
Didn't throw it a ton the first game out there. They relied on Josh Jacobs, right, and simplified things. Look, I'm not saying that you shouldn't tweak things when you get to a point and you get a bunch of guys injured, but
You have to.
Coaches have philosophies, and this is what they want to do. And sometimes there is a transition period till you have all your guys, but I feel like they've changed a lot of the guys in the secondary in one off season. Yeah. That's a bunch of new guys back there, and you commit. If you really felt like Tyson Campbell can't excel in a Ryan Nielsen defense, then what are you giving him all this money for?
Well, and they need Antonio Johnson to just be better. Like, he's got to be way better than he's been through the first 3 weeks of the season. So that's one of those. That's a young guy that there were a lot of expectations put upon him going into year 2, and he hadn't played great through the first few weeks. And Devin Lloyd looks like the same guy we've always seen in coverage. He's just not very good at that. And you better believe Houston's going to try to scheme it up where they get him in coverage one-on-one as much as they possibly can, and they should.
And again, by the way, he was not good in coverage under Mike Caldwell's zone defense either, because teams can still scheme it up, even if you're not in man-to-man, to force this particular guy to cover this particular guy, right? So if he's a liability, he's going to continue to be a liability, no matter what defense you're running out there.
Absolutely.
All right. And again, I felt like, after 2 weeks, we're like, hey, you know what? They're keeping the points off the board. If this offense could do anything, we'd be 2-0 right now. And so the defense gets a little bit more leeway despite their horrific performance on Monday night. You hope this is one of those just burn the film kind of games. Doug joked about burying it after the game, that it's just an outlier to get beat that badly. Mm-hmm. We'll find out this week because you're going to have a ticked-off Houston team looking to bounce back, too. Jay on the west side next up. Go ahead, Jay.
Yes, I have a question. Do y'all? I'm not sure I'm gonna know the answer, but
What's
do y'all think it's a mental thing with the players? Like they can't just get over that hump, like from last year. It's just like I think it's like a mental thing. They just can't get through it. I don't know. So I just take the question out there.
All right, Tony, I missed the very beginning of that because my
is it a mental thing?
My cord can't is what just like not.
For the players.
Is what a mental thing?
Like, just the results they're getting on the field, I think it was the way that he's at. I think Trevor Lawrence, it feels like these simple things are getting missed by him at this point in time because all the pressure is internal for him. And I don't know how much of that is the contract and the expectations he puts on himself to carry the whole boat, in some of these moments. And I have to be perfect in every moment. Like I do, you can watch it, you can see it when you watch him, right? The last couple of weeks especially. Miami, not so much. He played really well in those first 3 quarters of that football game. But the last couple of weeks, because of the way the Miami game ended, Cleveland's a really good defense. Monday night, he looks like a player who's saying, I have to be perfect in every moment. And if I'm not perfect in every moment, we got no chance. That's the way he's going about it. I don't think he needs to he needs to relax. I think he's a good player, but I think internally that stuff is weighing on him right now, and it's affecting the way he's playing.
I don't doubt that specifically for him. I don't know if that's an explanation for everybody else out there. Yeah. I mean, some guys are just playing poorly. Is there some mental issue with Cam Robinson to allow 8 pressures, or he's just getting his butt whipped out there? You know what I mean? Like
there's got to be something going on mentally for a group like that to lose 8 in a row.
I can see
something's going on.
If you get to the fourth quarter and, the first couple weeks, you've got this, here's the ball, go make some plays. This game is still winnable. It's out there for you, and nothing happens, and you start, that keeps repeating over and over, and you get to a circumstance where you just expect that outcome, and maybe hearing that after the first couple weeks, Trevor Lawrence did put more pressure on himself. Not that Trevor could have played his A game. You could have changed any one player's A game and to their A game, and it wouldn't not have produced a better outcome in terms of one loss.
Was playing,
But it doesn't mean he couldn't have played better.
He could have.
Absolutely. And so could have just about everybody else on that team. We got to take a break here. We'll come back with more of your commentary, and we'll hear from Doug Peterson on the other side. John Ogier will come in as well from Jaguars.com. He's trying to find the solutions here. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
For the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios at 1010XL. He's mastered the art of incognito.
Charming, sophisticated secret agent.
Case Carline takes you behind enemy lines 5 hours before kickoff. on 1010XL. Brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors. Visit the showroom on Phillips Highway.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
This is Hayes Carline for Kingfish Pest Control. Are you tired of spiders, ants, roaches, or other pests invading your home turf? Call the winning team at Kingfish Pest Control. I can tell you from my own experience, Kingfish will sack mosquitoes, tackle rodents, and intercept termites before they can blitz into your home. And right now, score 20% off your new pest control service when you start during the 2024 football season. Save big and defend your home with Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Lauren Brooks here to congratulate my friends at Big Chief Tire. For the 5th year in a row, Big Chief Tire was named the best tire center in Jacksonville for excellence in tire services. Big Chief Tire has served the Jacksonville community for over 60 years with quality tires, brakes, repairs, alignments, and more. Big Chief is known for fair prices and honest service, and they've built a reputation for treating customers like family and offering reliable solutions to keep vehicles safe and running smoothly. Visit BigChiefService.com.
Jacksonville contractors and business owners. Do you need chain link fence, commercial steel, or rolling doors? Frank Frangie here. Coyle & Sons has been in business in Jacksonville since 1927. They've earned the reputation of quality and specialized skill. Coyle & Sons are the ones trusted in Jacksonville by the top contractors, and they can stand on their reputation when you need almost 100 years of commercial contractor experience. So contact Coyle & Sons today. That's 904-356-4821 or visit them at coiljacks.com.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
Right now, they're on their way to ruin your day. Don't bother calling the police. They can't help. And if you're not prepared, you will suffer. Yes, it's that time of the year. Heat and humidity are attacking North Florida. But help is at hand. Call Mike Merritt's Heating and Air Conditioning. Mike Merritt has a license to chill and lets you maintain your comfort zone at a bargain price. How? Mike Merritt stands ready to help, routine or emergencies. And Mike Merritt knows emergencies can happen at any time. So with Mike, there's never any overtime charges. And Mike's team works without commissions. Merritt will never try to sell you parts you don't need. You can't trust just anyone with a truck. Call Mike Merritt, the company North Florida has trusted for 35 years. Call today. License number CAC 050384.
Bold City Brewery, established in 2008, is the oldest craft brewery in Jacksonville and proud to celebrate 16 years of brewing greatness in Duval. 2 locations serving delicious beers, seltzers, ciders, all produced in-house. Check out Bold City downtown on Bay Street or hit the production house and restaurant on Roselle Street in Riverside. Bold City Brewery, with something for everyone, brewing great beers and serving fantastic food to all of Duval. Log on and be bold. BoldCityBrewery.com.
The saying goes, the grass is greener on the other side. Well, that is actually true if your neighbor installed artificial turf. Lauren Brooks here from my friends at Sunshine Turf, a family-owned local company that will take your backyard dreams and turn them into a reality. Caleb can design anything from putting greens to pet runs, and if you have a pool, you'll definitely love maintenance-free turf around it. Visit sunshineturf.info to get a free quote today from Sunshine Turf. That's sunshineturf.info.
I-9 Sports wants to make sure kids all over the First Coast can enjoy growing up on a field or in a gym. And right now, fall and winter registration is open. Find out what I-9 Sports offers across Duval, Clay, and St. John's. I9sports.com. Enter 1010 in the promo code for a discount.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
What Major League Baseball park gives up the most home runs? The answer coming up.
Hurricane season is here, and now is the time to ask your agent about your homeowner's coverage. It's time to make the change to Southern Oak Insurance.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
According to Baseball Savant, Coors Field gives up more home runs and triples than any other major league ballpark.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Family owned and managed for 20 years, Hidden Hills Golf Club boasts a unique and welcoming golfing atmosphere. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com to book your next round on our Arnold Palmer signature course. You'll be glad you did.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to our website, CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com, and let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
Here's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, sponsored by Riddled Wellness. FSU head coach Mike Norvell, during Tuesday's post-practice press conference, defended the number of transfers into the program.
A good number of the guys that were limited in production before they came here. We believe in what that future is, and we believe that those guys are great asset to the program.
The USA Today Florida Network Super 25 includes only one team from our area in the top 25. Reigns check in at number 17. IMG Academy remains the number one team in the state after its impressive win against Mandarin. ESPN's Joe Lunardi updated his men's bracketology 2025 NCAA tournament seeding on Tuesday, and the Gators enter the new season as a 9th seed, even after an impressive year 2 under Todd Golden. At your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, I'm Sam Nelson.
At 11:01, it's 84 degrees. Time at 10, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler, Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Oh No's with Jaguars.com's John Osher. Brought to you by
Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
On 1010XL.
You know, Tone, we had the guy calling yesterday suggest it's a big conspiracy because Trevor Lawrence doesn't miss open guys.
Never.
And Damar Hamlin's never had an interception, so it was
perfectly written.
Perfectly written up for a Monday Night Football audience for Damar Hamlin to get his first one. We scoff at that. And if you if you feel that is true, then why do you watch football? I don't understand. But I do think that there are biases that the league shows. Not necessarily like, hey, we're going to let this guy get away with this particular penalty or whatever. But the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday, have you seen this?
No.
Will play on the road on a short week for the first time ever. Okay, every other team in the NFL has done it at least 6 times. 6 times! Yeah. It's not like Thursday Night Football is new. And Dallas has never had to go on the road for a short week.
That reminds me of those early days in the NFL when they were trying to figure out what to do with scheduling, John. And I know at the time, the commissioner in the offseason has got note cards on a table in his kitchen where he's trying to figure out what to do. And he's getting calls from owners saying, I don't want to do this, this, and this. And there were guys who had enough reputation, like George Halas had enough reputation that when he says, I'm not doing this, this, and this, he's like, all right, I'm going to help Chicago out, with the scheduling on these kinds of things. But that is absurd. They never had to go on a short week anywhere.
I wonder what Dallas's split is playing on the road and at home in prime time, because I think I wonder if they like to put the Cowboys at home in prime time still to make it right. I'm just wondering if
I don't know.
Yeah.
Part of the explanation seems to be, they play at home on Thanksgiving every year.
And they always play on Thursday the following week after that Thanksgiving game. That's what they've done the last couple of years.
Okay. Well, and they get a full week. Right. It's not a short week, right? So even if they're on the road, they're getting the advantage of a full week. And usually you're not playing more than 2 Thursday night games in a season.
If there's a known difficult task, it's road Thursday night.
Oh, gotta be.
I mean, there's others that people talk about, like going across time zones in a certain prime, but that's the one that everybody talks about.
You basically don't have any practice, right? You get a walk through, right? Your body's just doesn't have enough time to recuperate,
right?
To go out there and do those things.
Yeah, that's funny.
All right, let's play a comment from yesterday, John, and get your thoughts on this as well as ours. And the audience is welcome to jump in at 641-1010. A lot of talk about communication, right? Communication leading to timeouts to avoid delay of games. Communication with guys not getting lined up properly. Communication with guys running the wrong route or whatever it could be. And that's just on the offensive side, okay? So Doug Peterson was asked yesterday about the process of the coach communicating to the quarterback in terms of getting the play call in a timely fashion with no confusion and all that. And Doug Peterson said that aspect has been great.
It's been great. There has been no issues, from, play caller to quarterback. We haven't had any issues whatsoever. I think sometimes the mistakes that people misinterpret when it comes to communication is play to play. It's sometimes on the field. And, we make sure that, and I make sure that, coach to player, whether it be in game, on the sideline, during the week, it's got to be of the utmost importance.
So a lot of people interpreted this as Doug Peterson throwing his players or Trevor Lawrence specifically under the bus. Like, hey, the communication's not an issue with coach to player. Did you get any of that sense that he's saying, hey, well, and I'm not saying, by the way, the coach can't call out a guy and say this guy needs to be better if that is factually correct.
Yeah.
But how did you interpret it?
I don't know. I don't know if he was intentionally saying anything about the players. I think he was certainly saying the communication between the coaches has been great. So when he said the quote, it was one of the ones I wrote down from the press conference. And the way I take notes is I put little numbers next to the ones I want to write and use. That was one of them because it's significant. Was he saying the players need to do better at that? That I don't know because he didn't say it. So it's a bad answer. I don't know what he was trying to say, but he's certainly saying that the communication between coaches, getting the play into the players has not been the problem.
I feel like there's some of that, because what is Press Taylor doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all people are predisposed to not want Press Taylor calling the plays.
It felt like that when he said it.
And that he was defending that aspect of it.
It's a really easy way to interpret it.
Right? I mean, especially as emphatically as he came to that defense.
Yeah.
So what, look, his logman says it's like, I don't know how you describe it, like a grab bag of things. It is, right? Something different happens seemingly every play. Your left tackle can't block a guy. Your quarterback misses an open receiver. Your receiver drops the ball.
Which is usually what it is when it's like this.
Right. Your people are lining up in the wrong position. People are going in motion when they shouldn't. How do you fix it? What do you begin to fix it?
It's such a cliche and people hate hearing it. Everybody's got to get better. Everybody's got to concentrate more. Everybody's got to focus more, be on the same page. I don't have a one-sentence answer for fixing it. I'm assuming if there was a one-sentence answer for fixing it, they would do it.
As a general rule, though, when you say guys got to focus more, like you're 0-1, you lost in disappointing fashion. You're coming in for the home opener and it fell flat, right?
Yeah. Well, I agree that it. I don't even like saying it because I know the next question is going to be, well, why aren't they focused?
No, it's not even why. It's more
how do you
whose
fix
responsibility? Like, is it on the coaching staff? Because I can
many people
see
say
both
yes.
sides.
I always take the approach. These guys are professionals. If you're not focused, if you're not playing well, you're not in the league very long. Be a pro and do it. Coaches are there for a reason, though, and the reason is to motivate and get these guys on the same page. So some of it falls on the coaches, but I always fall more toward the players because I feel like, do it.
Have we not felt, though, this offseason in particular, that the kind of guys they went after from the kind of organizations who've had success, that those guys are the self-motivated type, that they know what it takes to play and win at a high level?
Yeah, sometimes it's not self-motivation. It's just one guy has a brain fade on one play, the next guy has a brain fade on the next play.
We had too many brain faders.
Well, those all happen to a lot of teams. What the Jaguars haven't done is on the plays where they don't have those, they haven't made plays to make up for those, right? Like a lot of times in protection. When they've gotten protection, when they've gotten the assignments, they haven't completed the pass, converted the first down. So right now, they're not good.
Just out of curiosity, did you see any brain fade from the Bills on Monday? Because I didn't recall any of that.
Yeah, I mean, they had penalty. Yeah, I did.
I'm
but I know what you're saying.
Here.
But they overcame them when they had fourth down on the first series. They picked it up. The Jaguars in those moments have not picked it up.
We converted fourth down. We just missed a wide open receiver on the next play.
Yeah.
So how do you not have all the answers, John?
Well, unfortunately, when you're not good, these are the kind of questions that you get, and the only thing to say is you got to play better and beat the Texans, but they haven't shown they're going to do that.
They haven't shown they're going to do that, but they did it the last time they played in Houston.
Yeah.
Right. So I do think that there's enough talent on this roster that outcome is possible.
Sure.
It's not one that you think is likely because it would be a result of them basically turning around everything 180 degrees from where they're headed right now.
Yeah, and I admit, I thought that they would play well on Monday and lose. I thought that the Bills were a team that feels like an elite year-to-year team playing at home, was going to be motivated. I thought the Jaguars would play well and the Bills would find a way. The fact that they played as they did for a second consecutive game, sometimes I come in here and I have a theory that people think is all out of whack, right? And I get that. I don't even have a theory for this one. I mean, I don't quite get why they saw the performance they did in the first half on Monday. It's concerning, and you don't want to see another one because those are bad.
Right.
I mean,
another one like that, and I think that everything's on the table at that point in time.
Yeah, and
I say everything within
reality. The NFL is 2 back-to-back performances like that. Listless. You were listless in the first half against Cleveland. I don't know what it is, but those kind of things have ramifications.
All right, 641-1010 on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines. Tim in Lakeland next up. Hello, Tim.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good. What's up?
Good. So I'm on the bandwagon, with everybody else about Trevor Lawrence. But I think, not Doug Marrone, but Doug Peterson, he needs to make a call. That's what good coaches do. They make a call. Quit beating around the bush. Cut this guy. Let's move on. Bench him. That's what they got to do. Do something.
They need to cut Trevor Lawrence, you're saying?
No, bench him. Bench him.
Well, you said cut or bench.
I meant bench. I also said Doug Marrone.
Yeah, I know you did. All right, all right. So you think they need to bench Trevor Lawrence, and so that you want the narrative to be now that the Jags have given $275 million to a guy and they've given up after 3 games. I mean, that's why I said within reason.
Yeah,
it's not happening.
They're not going to do that.
Just not going to happen. And by the way, as we pointed out, and again, very small sample size, you come into a tough situation. Mac Jones, in a handful of plays, has as many turnovers this year as Trevor Lawrence does. The one time he got anybody near him, he coughed up the ball, and it got recovered by the other team. So, I get it if you think that it's a lost cause, whatever. Bryce Young, if that's what you want this situation to be, because that's what it will be.
Oh, yeah.
And it feels good. Andy Dalton won us a game. Andy Dalton's not the future. Going to lead you nowhere. So
yeah, that's not going to happen, nor should it.
No, I don't think it's not even a thought in their mind. I mean, people are like asking, did he get pulled or did he get a bench the other night? Does it really matter? I mean, when a game's a blowout, and I know some of the former players are like, hey, I would have left him in there, with the rest of his teammates. Well, he is the franchise, and if he
leaves him in there and he gets hurt,
right? Then why is he in there?
Right.
What are you doing?
Then you got Detroit all over again. In 2022, when it was legitimately questioned why was he in the game. Well, there's always a fine line, and coaches each series in that situation, they've got to figure out, do I keep doing it? So, no, you take him out at that point and you play him on Sunday.
I mean, I think there are a lot of things on the table. I don't think that's one of them. I don't think, you're going to bench Josh Hines-Allen. I mean, there's certain guys that you're pot committed to, and they're your best players at that position, no matter how they're performing right now. And whether you like it or not, there's a difference. There's a politics behind the quarterback position. If you bench your franchise quarterback,
it's over.
It is over. And they are committed financially to Trevor Lawrence for years and years and years and years and years, and they're not going to punt on this. They'll go through a couple more coaching staffs, I believe, before they get to that point.
Yeah.
So we'll see. All right, thank you for the call. Vehemently disagree with your opinion. However, 641-1010 if you want to get on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey for Pella Windows and Doors. Talk about them all the time. I can't invite all of you over to the house to see how beautiful they are, although some of you have been to my place. They look great, make my house feel great, super energy efficient. Well, you can stop by the Pella booth this weekend at the Jacksonville Home and Patio Show and get a special home show discount on your next Pella project. See for yourself why Pella is considered the top in the industry by Consumer Reports. Check them out online at PellaJacks.com or swing by the showroom on Phillips Highway. But don't forget the Pella booth at the Jacksonville Home and Patio Show this weekend for that special home show discount on your next Pella project.
Jaguars
Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
Let's go, defense!
A good-looking defense does more than protect your zone. It can enhance your home.
Hey, this is our house! Hey, this is our house!
After the game, catch the Superior Fence and Rail Defensive Player of the Game on 1010XL.
September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. So here's a reminder to get screened. Ackerman Cancer Center offers on-site imaging, including total body MRI. Early detection is the key. Visit AckermanCancerCenter.com.
This is Hayes Carlyon for Skylife Elite. Have you ever thought about aircraft ownership as another potential revenue stream and as a tool for tax savings? Put your tax money to work for you while enjoying the benefits of private personal travel. Skylife Elite has over a decade of experience in business aviation and can guide you through the process with their expert staff. Call my friends over at Skylife Elite at 490-9332 or find them at flyskylife.com to get the rundown on everything owning an airplane can do for you.
Small business, big target. DoubleCheck provides AI-powered cybersecurity solutions to small businesses so you can keep your eye on the ball. Book your free consultation this month for 10% off your first 6 months. Visit doublecheck.com today.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on 1010XL. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need help fixing a plumbing issue? Let our winning team go to work for you. 904-862-6769 or online at duckrooter.com.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experience, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish. And he's listening to the Nimnicht Outdoor Show.
With tips and stories.
Presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning.
Every Saturday morning, 7 to 10.
On 1010XL.
It's time to take it back to the 90s, Jags fans. Be at the bank Sunday, October 6th, as we debut our Prowler throwback jerseys against the Colts and induct legendary head coach Tom Coughlin into the pride of the Jaguars at halftime. Kickoff is set for 1 p.m. You're not going to want to miss this matchup. Lock in your seats now by going to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000.
Jacksonville's building a fence along the goal line. This is the Superior Fence and Rail Defensive Player of the Game. Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
Monteric Brown was a man on a mission in the Queen City. The Jacksonville cornerback recorded a team-high 7 total tackles versus the Bills, 4 of which were solo. You never have to ask what Brown can do for you because he'll deliver time and time again. Monteric Brown is your Superior Fence and Rail's defensive player of the game.
If you're tired of your fence looking like a bad hair day, well, it's time for a fence makeover with Superior Fence and Rail. They'll make your yard the talk of the town with a new fence installed by their expert team.
Your fence is fantastic. My fence is giving all of my neighbors some serious pick and envy. Thanks, Superior Fence and Rail.
So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your fence installation project today.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com. Good people drink good beer.
And great people drink Mocama, a refined craft brewery out of Fernandina Beach, Florida. Mocama Beer Company brings sophisticated flagship beers, including Cosmico IPA and Dune Garden Lager, to the greater Jacksonville area. Whether you're hitting the water with friends or enjoying a backyard barbecue, Mocama has the perfect fare for your summer activities. Look for us wherever great beers are sold and find your Mocama.
Expert Automotive on St. John's Bluff Road has some of the highest Google reviews in Jax for a reason. Expert Auto never sells greed, only what you need. All makes and models are serviced at Expert Automotive. This month, get an alignment inspection for only $19.99. Expert Auto does major engine and transmission repair and simple maintenance. All services done at Expert Auto by our ASE certified training technicians. Call today, 374-3373, and ask about $50 off any service. Expert Automotive. We never sell greed, only what you need.
If you've been injured in an accident, you have one shot at compensation. Make it count. Farah and Farah, protecting you and your family. Call us at 396-5555. Jacksonville.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppables, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Oh No's.
With Jaguars.com's John Osher.
Brought to you by
Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars on 1010XL.
All right, Tony, you looked it up. You said Dallas has never played Thursday Night Football on the road, period, since 96.
Correct.
Even the week after Thanksgiving, if they play back-to-back, it's always been in Dallas.
And why should they? They're the Cowboys.
Because they're America's team,
That's right.
damn it.
That's
and
right.
they haven't won a Super Bowl since
95.
More years than not. They've only had a handful of years where they even play two games on a Thursday.
Well, and most
like
teams
this
don't.
is pretty
That's
rare, right? Like they play on Thanksgiving every year. That's obviously a home game for the Cowboys every year. That's usually the Cowboys on Thursday. If you're going to get them, that's it.
It's also Detroit's home game, and yet somehow they've managed to play as a road team on Thursday night at least 6 times.
They get moved around. It is odd that Dallas has never had to do it.
It's not that odd.
Now they're not. They got to go. They got to go, and it's going to be a division game. At least they get the advantage of they know the opponent, like that kind of thing. So it's a little less of a hectic thing, but whatever. I hope the Giants beat them.
It's getting kind of hectic. All right. Sorry, Hicken. Let's go back to the line, 641-1010 on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines. Jose in Daytona up next. Hello, Jose.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. What's up?
So I think, honestly, I want to say the problem, I would not give up on Trevor now. The kid, he has prototypical size. He's 6'6", 6'5". He's a big quarterback, throws nice tight spirals. I just think that the coaching staff needs to identify and see that the kid is good at running with the football. They need to stop being one-dimensional. I just think that they got to open it up to him. I think he got to run with the football. I think I just don't see that. He's always running for his life. It's just pretty bad.
All right, thanks, Jose. Look, excuse me, frog in the throat right there. I don't think Trevor is quick twitch enough to do all the RPO stuff. Like, I think Trevor has good build-up speed. We've seen the long speed, right? When he gets an alley, he can sprint, moving in one direction.
Right.
The whole put the ball in Travis Etienne's belly, pull it out, you're at a standstill at that point, and make a quick move to the outside. That's why I feel like sometimes, Tony, so many of these plays in the pocket are so frustrating because they're so cumbersome. They're so slow developing, right? Like, I would encourage Trevor to run more when it's there because you got to pick up first down somehow, right?
And there's stuff you can do in terms of rolling him so that he gets some momentum going and then builds up speed. But I'm with you. To run RPOs with him, it puts you at big-time risk for hits, which in the long term you don't want.
Right, that 6'6" frame works against you sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm with you. That doesn't feel like what he does well as much. There are ways to roll quarterbacks out and to take advantage of what he's talking about, but it's not something that you have as the base to your offense. It has to be more supplemental.
Do you feel like the rollout plays? There's just I feel like the defenses are like, yeah, we got this. Like, you know what I mean? Like by the time Trevor rolls one way or the other, he's got a man in his face, and I'm not trying to absolve Trevor Lawrence here. I'm just saying this is what I've observed, and that he has this high degree of difficulty throw that forces him off his back foot sometimes.
He's twisting.
Right, he's not right. He can't just like square the feet, and I just feel like you watch some of these other teams and everything happens a little bit more quickly. I don't know if that's the nature.
6'6" guy takes longer to get going than a 6'2" guy.
Do we need less of that from the 6'6" guy, or is it just that, hey, maybe if that guy held his block for an extra half second, we wouldn't have that? I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah,
right?
I personally, for the long term, don't necessarily want a run-based, like a Trevor Lawrence running as one of the 2 or 3 foundation poles of your offense.
But I do agree there are more opportunities for him to run, and he should look for more opportunities to run.
When it's there.
Just convert some first downs. You can get down, you can slide and protect yourself like that. But yeah, the whole RPO thing, I just don't think is well suited to him. Jose, appreciate the call. Let's go to Leo next here on Jaguars Today. Hello, Leo.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for taking my call. I had a whole different take, Mike Dempsey, but I tell you what, I couldn't agree with you more about what you just said. You cut me totally thrown off.
I know it's rare, Leo, when that happens. So that would throw anybody off.
No, well, because I'm saying, man, because like I just want to talk about this now because you're right. Because I called you about this last week with Jeff Logman. I hate that. All that turning around, all that there's precious seconds that we can't afford. Just and listen, to give positive and praise. There was a play. I forget what game it was. The first play they came out and ran, he threw a quick play to Britton Strange. I don't know why they don't do more of that, right? Just quick stuff. Like he can do it. I've seen him do it. They just don't do it enough. But I was calling to just say, man, my take was I'm just kind of there is no solutions, and I'm not sitting here saying anybody needs to be fired or gone because I know they're not going to be. But I'm just very, very aggravated, like I said, with the last time this team was good, and I want to keep beating the dead horse. But see, the problem is that listen, I'm going to tell you like this. If y'all go down in that locker room right now, everybody want to know what the problem is, and y'all know this, right? Somebody on that 53-man roster ain't happy with their paycheck, okay? Somebody looking over their shoulder. Listen, I've seen money destroy families and turn people who was in love with each other, okay? People who grew up with each other start talking to each other over money. You mean to tell me there's a guy in that locker room looking at his $100,000 check, and, man, I ain't making $3.5 million a week or $2 or whatever. I'm telling you that's going on. And in fact, if you look and see where all the deficiencies are on this team, and look at what they're getting paid, like that offensive line, your defensive backs, okay, that's where we have them. And see, you got guys down, and if you go in that locker room, I don't get to go down there, but I'd go down there and I'd listen and just not say nothing. They'll tell you. You'll find out the guys who are disgruntled about their paycheck and looking and why should I be getting paid and blah, blah, blah. It's happening, man. It's going on.
All right, Leo, let us jump in and comment on this, all right? I appreciate it. Wouldn't that be going on in every locker room in the NFL?
Yeah, in the NFL, there's an element there's always somebody who wants to be getting paid more.
I don't doubt that there's a couple
Tony's
of guys on any
right
53-man roster, right? I told you.
Well, that
have
stuff,
you seen Tony's check?
That stuff comes up when the team isn't playing any good, right?
Well,
when teams start losing a lot, then that kind of griping starts. They're not losing because guys are griping in week 3. That's absurd.
But do we need more from Trevor? He's certainly getting paid well. Do we need more from Josh Hines-Allen? Yeah. I don't think Josh Hines-Allen decided, I'm good now. I don't think he's that kind of guy.
Well, he sort of implied that people are mad about what they're getting paid. And
I don't doubt that.
If you go down the roster, though, most guys on the team are getting paid.
All right, but here,
it's at that point in the contract.
2018, it became a big issue after Bortles got the deal, and a bunch of guys who didn't get deals that offseason were looking around. When it turned south, then that became a really big deal in the locker room. But I don't think it was some massive deal, and it's why everything went south. I don't think that's why things went south in 2018. There were other reasons. They didn't play well. They got in their own way. then it becomes an issue. I'm not saying it can't become an issue for the 2024 Jags, but there are a lot of guys getting paid when they should have been paid.
There are tons of guys that got paid this year, and I think most of the guys in the locker room would say, yeah, those are the guys that needed to get paid or at least are understanding of why they did. But let's say you got a guy, and I shouldn't even mention, I won't mention a name, all right? But you can all pick one in your head who you think this might apply to. Okay, I didn't get paid. I'm disgruntled. This guy, I'm better than this guy. Well, what does the guy who didn't get paid want to do? Wants to get paid, right? So to go out there and half-ass it leads you to nowhere closer to getting ultimately paid by this team or any other team. Nope. So I think it's a self-defeating kind of situation. Again, I agree with you, Tony. I'm not saying it can't become a problem. I don't doubt that there's probably a few guys that go, damn it, I'm better than this guy. That's human nature.
Yeah. Also, from a logistical standpoint, most of these players have agents who know how the league works. Most of the guys who aren't on second contracts, which means they've gotten paid, are rookies or are on rookie deals. So there's only a handful of guys who are really even eligible to quote get paid who haven't been. And again, there's always one or two guys who are in that point of, okay, I could be getting paid, but I'm not yet. It's not an overwhelming number of guys, and it doesn't feel like it's a core issue. I mean, I was thinking about it when he brought it up, and it just doesn't add up the way the team's structured.
If teams underperform long enough, all kinds of things can become issues.
Yeah,
right? Right. I mean, like you're 0-6, and then every little gripe is going to be magnified a bunch. I don't think that they're off to this kind of start because guys are like checking out on
that doesn't. I'm not
you
saying
check
it couldn't
out,
happen.
you miss out. I mean, the payday could still be coming. You know. All right, we got to take a break. We'll come back. Got a lot to do in this final segment. Stick around. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Electrical problems? Call American Electrical Contracting. 737-7770. Small jobs or large, they do them all. Work with a locally owned and operated company that will wire it right at a fair price. It's not just a slogan, it's the way they do business.
Do the Garber Wiggle, Garber Wiggle, 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 Garber Wiggle.
If you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle with lifetime warranty, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. Best price, best payment, best trade-in value, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. With a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there is always a little room for wiggle.
Garber Wiggle, 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 Garber Wiggle.
When it comes to selling your home, it can be stressful. Take the stress out with my friends Chad and Sandy Newman. Maybe you're worried you won't sell your home for the price you need. How's this for a guarantee? Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they'll buy it. No required costly repairs. Pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. Mortgage rates are down, creating more active buyers and sellers, and if you've been waiting, now is a great time to sell your home. Take Kim in Palm Coast. I needed to move closer to family ASAP, but I had to sell my Palm Coast home first. I tried and failed with another agent, so my family said, you got to call Chad and Sandy. Well, sure enough, as promised, Chad and Sandy did it. They sold my home in 3 days, above asking price. Call the local Jacksonville experts I trust and recommend. Call Chad and Sandy today at 904-414-6200 or go to chadandsandy.com. That's Chad, ANDSANDY.com.
It's Awaken 180 Weight Loss Wednesday
On Jaguars Today.
Hey, Carline here. If you're like me in the fall, you want to watch football, not clean. Enter Molly Maid, voted Bold City Best Cleaning Service 3 years in a row. Molly Maid is reliable, friendly, and thorough. Visit mollymaid.com.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro Jags Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projacksroofingfl.com.
1010XL's running game takes a giant step forward.
Well, Fred Taylor is the whole package.
Fred Taylor joins Dan and Jeff on the drill. Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein and Robbins and Monahan Jewelers.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey with my own Awaken 180 celebration. Maybe not 100 pounds like Hacker, but it's been a full year since I dropped 26 pounds and I haven't put a single pound back on. For a whole year. Free support for life at awaken180weightloss.com.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Pickett here with my concierge doctor, Richard Townsend. Doc T, how does a concierge direct primary care operate?
We are a membership-based primary care made directly between a patient and physician. We'll have a limited amount of patients that allows us to give unlimited access and personal service to you. This individualized approach has been shown to lower hospitalizations as well as maintain healthier lives. We also give 24/7 access via phone to me outside of our scheduled office hours.
To learn more, go to mypvconcierge.com.
Everything about the game has changed, except for the most important thing. What you have inside. It is what drives the game. It refuses to be ignored. It sweats every day, turns an athlete into a legend. Gatorade, is it in you?
From Gatorade Zero to Gatorade Endurance Formula and Gator Light, there's something for every athlete. Find it at your local Winn-Dixie. It's a win-win. Gatorade, official partner of the NFL.
This is Corona Premier. Just 90 calories and 2.6 grams of carbs. It's a light beer that... Wait, this is a light beer? But we should really tell people about... Right, that's why I'm here. Sorry. Corona Premier, unexpectedly, light beer.
Yo, this is Tony from Tony D's. Are you looking for a great slice of pizza? Well, we have about 12 varieties. Most places won't have slices of pizza after lunch. At Tony D's, you can get a slice all day. It's always fresh at Tony D's Pizza. Bay Meadows and 295.
Have you tried golfing at the improved Cimarron Golf Club? If you haven't, tell you what, you're missing out on the best deal in Jacksonville. Now, many of you have received a postcard in the mail, and of course, if you bring that with you, $45 plus tax to play. That includes a cart lunch and a beer at the brand new Stone Barrel Tap House. Now, go to the website, that is CimarronGolfClub.com, and sign up for the Wild One Loyalty Program. That's the Wild One Loyalty Program, and get all of these specials emailed to you from Cimarron.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
ESPN's Dan Orlovsky was a game analyst for Bills Jaguars on Monday Night Football and spoke this week about what he saw from Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence.
Feels like every rep Trevor's trying to prove worthy of that number one pick, worthy of the contract. It's the striving for perfection instead of striving for any form of progress. I understand how hard this is. Like, I get it. But when you watch him play, it's this tightness of trying to make every rep be the home run almost.
ESPN's Dan Orlovsky on Trevor Lawrence. Trevor's scheduled to meet with the media today at 12:45. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
All right, Jaguars Today, final 12, 15 minutes or so, whatever. It depends on how long we feel like staying, honestly, right? We're just going to be here and hopefully,
we'll decide.
Hopefully we won't be fired tomorrow. But anything's on the table.
And we'll race the storm home.
Yeah, if I get beat in the Breakfast Bowl as badly as the Jaguars got beaten, I might take Friday off. Next week. I won't know Friday.
Yeah, I'm pumped.
Yeah, me too. All right, today's question of the day, who's the most to blame for the current state of affairs that the Jacksonville Jaguars find themselves in? You can look at this in a number of ways. Is it John Oehser?
Yeah.
Is it the players? coaches, the front office? Is it ownership? Why don't we discuss with today's 10-10 Take?
10-10
Take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 Take. Brought to you by
Double checked. Cybersecurity made simple.
There are layers to it, right? I mean, subtlety doesn't always play on the radio.
Make the argument for all four.
You absolutely
it's just
could.
Which one you want to go with?
Right, and people voting for ownership are saying Shad Khan hired all these people.
Yep.
And I get it, but I will go back to something you said earlier today, Tone. I liked what Trent Baalke did this offseason.
Yeah.
I wasn't going, this is crazy. He was signing guys that made a lot of logical sense. Yeah, I mean, did it work out with the Calvin Ridley situation? By the way, Calvin Ridley's had 2 miserable games out of 3 weeks. Now, granted, he's playing with Will Levis, but whatever. But for the most part, you don't get everything you want every offseason. Locked up the guys that we were celebrating at the time for getting locked up with long-term deals. Made, I thought, a fantastic move to acquire 3 extra picks and still get Brian Thomas Jr. And you can look at the O-line. You can't have everything. Not everything is fixable. I like Mason Smith's potential, Anyway, so I think there is enough talent on this roster to win. Certainly be more competitive than they've been to this point. Ultimately, players do have to play. But again, John, is this roster worse than it was last year? I don't think it is.
Well, shouldn't be, but
I'm not saying is it performing better.
Yeah. When I always think it's a players' league, and I've always been told by players, look, you can say what you want about coaching, but at some point, if guys aren't making the plays, if guys aren't doing things a little beyond the X's and O's, then you're not going to have a good team. And right now, nobody is stepping up and showing that they are a great player who can play big in big moments.
I don't disagree with that.
That's where I always come down.
I feel when it's as systemic as it has seemed to be for the first 3 weeks, Tony, when you point to do I think all these guys lost their mind at the same time? Can't line up, can't get a play in, can't do the simple things.
Right.
I don't. So I'm wondering, why are we not getting a better level of performance across the board from a lot of these guys? So
Sure.
I would probably lean towards coaching. I'm not the sole responsibility for this, John. What you're saying is true.
Sure.
You can still go out there. Trevor Lawrence, no amount of coaching makes him throw the ball over Brian Thomas Jr.'s head.
Right.
Nobody's coaching him to do that.
Yeah.
Right? And nobody's coaching these crazy procedure penalties and things like that. But when they happen over and over and over again, I feel like the message is not getting through.
Yeah, I don't know how much of even those kind of mistakes that we've seen is coaching versus players, right? Getting themselves in the right position. Dearness Johnson not lining up right and having to be moved so that they can move him again because that's what they needed to do for that play against Cleveland. That feels to me like that's mostly on Dearness. Not being in the place where he needed to be.
Who is usually a very smart,
right,
reliable player.
I go back to week 1 that, no one forced Etienne to fumble that ball. No one forced Andre Sisco to take a half false step, and that's all you have to do against a guy like Tyreek Hill, and maybe the outcome of that game is different. I think there have been enough issues with players that drop passes, especially that first game on 3rd down, from Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram, guys that you expect to be your guys, right, that you expect to rely on going into the season. I think we've seen enough mistakes for those kinds of guys that would be where I would vote in today's, but I do think them and coaches are the ones that I'm having that debate with right now. If it continues to go the way that it's going, that changes my answer to this question, but you could make an argument for all 4.
We only have 3 games to base this on, right?
Yeah.
If we're voting after week 1, I'd probably tend to agree with you.
Yeah.
That it's more about player miscues at inopportune times, right? But and I get it. You can still be fired. You can be self-motivated, but I feel like
the players and coaches
so
are fighting each
for
other
2
for
weeks.
Yeah, winning this vote. It's like they're in a fist fight. It's stupid.
Actually, coaches in front office are fist fighting in the vote right now. Over 500 votes. So that's a pretty robust one at this stage. This will go until tomorrow morning. Coaches being blamed for 39%. Front office, 31% of the vote going there. Ownership, about 18%, 11.5% blaming the players at this point in time. So, look, again, responsibility can be spread out, right? But, the There's not as much nuance in a
they are
poll
where
as
they
you'd like
are.
it to be.
Yeah.
Right?
You should have put me in that.
I should have put Ozier at the first option. Maybe just run that poll. Just who's responsible, Ozier or Johnny O? Which
there
one?
There are people who would vehemently say it's me.
I probably would, and there are probably people who don't realize that Ozier and Johnny O are the same guy as well. That's possible. Let's go around the rest of the National Football League.
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach.
Carolina has placed wide receiver Adam Thielen on IR due to the hamstring injury that he suffered on Sunday. Cincinnati right tackle Trent Brown suffered a torn patellar tendon in his right knee on Monday night. Will miss the remainder of the 2024 season. Detroit has placed defensive end Marcus Davenport and linebacker Derek Barnes on IR. New Orleans center Mike McCoy. Let me get that out of my way there. As something popped up on my screen. New Orleans center Mike McCoy suffered a groin injury that is expected to require surgery and keep him out for 6 to 8 weeks. Miami quarterback Skylar Thompson considered day-to-day with a rib injury. Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel said yesterday that the next 48 hours would determine his availability for week 4. Pittsburgh head coach Mike Tomlin has already ruled out linebacker Alex Highsmith for this week. He said that running back Najee Harris, who was seen in a sling after the game on Sunday, will not be limited in practice. And running back Jalen Warren's status for this week is up in the air due to a knee injury, and Baltimore has signed defensive end Yannick Ngakoue.
Eric McCoy of the Saints. I had to look because I'm like, wait a minute. Is he doubling as our quarterback's coach here? Or
McCoy,
is he brushing up the resume to make a pitch to be the interim at some point? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't have any say in that. Let me just read this one that we just got in from Josh on Twitter. Starts with the owner that thinks this team of losers is the best ever assembled. Hires terrible coaches and GMs, lets these failures stay multiple years to make stupid decisions, leading to endless failure. They hired Doug Peterson. He has had a winning record each year he's been here. That's a loser, a complete fail. I mean, where was this rhetoric 3 weeks ago, right? That Doug Peterson's just an outright loser? I mean, do you know how rare it's been for this franchise? We do. It's a rhetorical question to win and could have winning record in consecutive years. I think Shad was way out over his skis saying it was the best team that the Jags ever had. I agree with that. But
I said it at the time. Like, talking to that group in that room, I thought that was the right message to put out to those guys if you're the owner. That is what when he said it, I had no issue with it.
I could see
we all knew
in my tenure.
Right, like if it turned on him, that this would be what would happen. Everyone would be like, the owner's an idiot. How could he ever say something like that, compare these guys to 99? I get it. But to that group of guys in that room, I had no issue with it then.
Hey, this is what we expect, guys. Go do
right.
it.
Like, I get it. The pressure from the owner going in that direction is fine. Fans are reacting to it now even more vehemently than they did when he said it. But I think the intention behind that was fine. The team is letting everybody down, including the owner. And we are in a position, as we talked about early in the show, if things go south against Houston the way that they did on Monday night against Buffalo, then heads could roll starting this week for this franchise.
I'd be surprised if they did.
Right. Like the horizon, you can see the potential of that. It feels like right now it's hard to believe that Doug Peterson's going to be the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2025. I don't see how they get it turned around well enough in 24 for him to be the head coach going into next season. He might not be the head coach in 2 weeks, and I understand fans that go, well, then do it now.
But then
ownership
again,
is saying not yet.
Did we go to Houston, the Jaguars, go to Houston last year and win? Is it impossible to think that they could win this game?
No.
I don't think it's impossible, right? So let's say they do. Well,
changes a lot.
Anthony Richardson's, you want to talk about sailing the ball over people's heads.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is playing garbage football, and could you win that game against a team that you've dominated in recent years? Absolutely. Sure. Then you have two, based on their performance on the field this year, two of your weaker opponents back to back. It's not out of the realm of possibility to come back from London at 4-3. I'm not expecting it, but
it's out there.
I don't think you can rule it out.
Yeah, while there are exceptions, usually any surge you get from interim coach is usually very short-lived. So if you think this team can turn it around, and they do, then you stick with what you've gone with and see how it plays out.
That's one way of looking at it. You can also say, hey, if you think you've got something here, why wait any longer? Let's see if another guy can actually draw that out of them.
Well, I'm saying at 4 or 5 weeks into the season.
I got you.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, look, it's obviously not happening this week. Right. So let's hope that they don't have another performance against Houston like they did against Buffalo. Let's say hello to Helmets and Heels.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers, the exclusive provider of BioTarget regenerative therapy for pain. Visit GoBioTarget.com for a location near you.
All right, Mia O'Brien's here. Mia, what did Doug Peterson say today that piqued your interest the most?
Ooh, what piqued my interest the most? Well, certainly when we asked him about any specific changes that came from that everything is on the table review, he wouldn't say much. But he did allude to, when I asked about the defensive substitutions, the hockey shifts, that largely going to go away because by virtue of the injuries and the depth being tested with Tyson Campbell on IR, Foye Oluwakin potentially missing on Sunday, and much of the defense being banged up.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if Foye plays this way. I mean,
yeah.
It sounds like...
At least from what Pelissero reported. So,
right.
I mean, you know.
Look, we'll see. How hot is the seat for Doug Peterson, in your opinion, right now? Like, if it's ugly against Houston, what's the scale of likelihood that we get a coaching change here?
Well, when would we see said coaching change?
Let's say they lose 47-10,
Yep.
exactly as they lost.
Yep.
I'm talking about next week.
Yeah, I mean, there have been people that have floated that to me. Again, historically speaking, that's not the case with Shad Khan, and I would think after the initial 24 hours or even 12 hours of reacting to even the loss on Monday, it sounds like a lot of people have flushed it, or maybe they just have accepted that this is what they are right now. But no, I think if you're Shad Khan, I think that would be a huge statement to say, not only, number one, this is unacceptable, and we are not those same old Jags, but secondly, that you need to salvage Trevor Lawrence. I think that Hayes Carline hit the nail on the head on yesterday's Duval Rundown when he said, at this juncture, that's the guy who $275 million is invested in. And dare I bring up the C word, the Carson Wentz word, there also is that factor of you've seen this script before. Do you want it to continue down that road? If it appears that's the road it's going down. I thought Doug, when I asked him earlier today about any experiences that they can fall back on and reflect upon, he referenced the Kansas City Chiefs team he was a part of that won their first game, lost 5 straight games. This is obviously a franchise that knows a thing or two about losing streaks. And so how do you use those previous experiences to maybe get yourself out of the gutter?
I'll say this about Carson Wentz, and I'm not here to defend him, but Doug Peterson had him playing at an MVP level.
Yep.
He gets hurt, and then once they had their rift, no other team has given Carson Wentz a chance to start.
Correct.
So maybe he's not that good.
Correct.
Yet he had him playing at an MVP level.
The Colts started him.
And so did Washington.
They blew it late in the year.
I guess they did.
That was that last week of the season they came here, and Jacksonville beat them when they could have gone into the playoffs if they won here.
You're right. He hasn't, put it this way, he hasn't proven to be a guy that is a top 32 option in the National Football League. And anyway, again, I'm not saying Doug Peterson doesn't have his flaws, as I think we tried to make clear.
Yeah.
It is a multifaceted problem.
And yeah, the problem is the entire, in my estimation, it's the entire operation right now, and I'm not sure how you can fix that in a 6-day period. But look, maybe one win is all they need to taste the thrill of victory, and all of a sudden everything clicks again.
Yeah, don't let that be the New England game. Because it's over at that point, right? You better win one before then. You better win one this weekend, or the drumbeat is going to be ugly around these parts. Mia, have a good show.
Thank you. Lance Zierlein going to join us at 12:35. Mia's MyBookie picks, and we finally will talk about college football for the first time this week.
All right, there you go. Helmets and Heels coming your way. John, where are we going to get you the next few days?
Huddle Up Podcast on Wednesday at 4, and then we'll see what the rest of the week brings with the storm.
Okay, your Huddle Up Podcast is too tough to get rained out, you're saying, though.
Oh, we don't. Absolutely.
Just checking. Just checking on that. All right. For Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. Breakfast Bowl with D-Rock tomorrow. D-Rock buying us breakfast again. Mm-hmm. It's become a tradition.
He's on a roll
around these parts. We appreciate you, Mike DiRocco. All right. That'll do it for us today. Stick around for Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars